John Felt here, and this is the Blue Water Outlook weekly weather briefing for December 21st, 2019. Christmas is just a few days away. My schedule's changed a little bit here, so I'm putting out today's briefing a little bit early. Well, what we have here is a weather map here with a couple systems I want to highlight. A system that produced some record rainfall in the Seattle area, atmospheric river. I've talked a lot about that so far this year. And also we have an area of low pressure here that's going to be moving into the Gulf, pulling up some moisture and producing some heavy rain over the southeast U.S. and mid-Atlantic. Everywhere else it looks like a pretty quiet week, and with a jet stream bowing to the north, mild temperatures for much of the nation for Christmas. Now over the last week, a couple areas here where we had the most significant rain. Again, the Washington coast, parts of the west coast as well, but particularly around Seattle and the coastal areas of the Pacific Northwest, southeast U.S., and parts of the Ohio River Valley, the southern part of the Ohio River Valley. Records were set. Fifth wettest day on record yesterday with 3.25 inches, and Seattle is now, for a multi-day rainfall, over 2 inches. And we've definitely had a lot of rivers just shoot up from pretty low flows up to almost moderate flooding. So right now, as far as the snow situation here, we still have snow on the ground. This is the remnants. We had that winter storm that sort of moved up in this area right here. A lot of that's already melted, but we still have a little bit here on the ground. In Missouri, a little bit more, 2 to 4 inches still on the ground through Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and into the northeast U.S. And then this is that more semi-quasi stationary band of snow that's normally over this region this time of year. I'm going to show you a situation that this will be melting quite a bit this week as well. So right now, these are areas of active melt, and you can see all the active melt on this area of snow. We're starting to work on the fringes of the northern snowpack as well, and this is going to be a lot more active as we get through the next 2 or 3 days. Now, as far as dew point goes, what we have here is we have generally dry air over much of the nation. You can see some of the Pacific moisture is pushed into the Pacific Northwest, and we're going to gradually pull some moisture into the southeast U.S., but I don't see that developing quite yet. We need to get that area of low pressure more into the Gulf southerly flow. Now last week, behind that winter storm, it was very cold over the middle part of the U.S. Minnesota, 10 to 15 degrees, average temperature below normal for the week. Now, I've been talking a bit about spring snow melt, and I'll be talking a lot more as we go over the next number of months. But there are some areas that are causing me concern right now. This is moisture, soil moisture. And remember, we have that snow on top of that, and that's going to melt as well. So this is locked into the ground pretty much this time of year. So we're going to probably enter spring with a vulnerability of wet soils in the upper Midwest and part of the Missouri. So let's keep that in mind. I'll be covering that in a lot more detail as we go forward. Now, these rivers are also frozen. That's why they're not showing up. But we also have rivers running on the high side as well over parts of the Missouri and upper Mississippi. So right now I'm a bit concerned about that for spring, but there'll be a lot of time to look at that and a lot of changes right through spring. So a lot can change. Pacific Northwest rivers are running very high due to the recent rain, and the northeast U.S. as well. Now, keep in mind over the southeast U.S., I'm going to be talking about some rain. There's also a vulnerability here because last week we had that heavy rain, and we're going to have back-to-back weeks of heavy rain in a few spots. So the jet stream here, analysis, you can see the system here that's going to affect the southeast U.S. in the jet stream. And you can see the flow, onshore flow, atmospheric rivers type situation in the Pacific Northwest. But overall, most of the nation is going to be dominated by this ridge of high pressure this week. This will be the main weather story for most of the nation. Now, if we go for the next 2 weeks here, we basically have a transition. It's not a super complicated one. It's basically going from a ridge of high pressure right here, and then as we go into week 2, a dip in the jet stream. So we're sort of transitioning. We're going from this ridge, pushing north, right there to a trough digging to the south. And you can see that in its temperatures as well. As we go through this week, a lot of red, above normal temperatures, and then as we get into week 2, especially after 10 days out, we cool down. Now keep in mind that's way out there, so that could change, but right now this is what the models are showing. Now this week, the 2 weather features we're going to look at, the Pacific Northwest system is now just about ending that rain and snow event, but we're going to have a secondary front over the southwest U.S., Southern California, that could produce very heavy rain this week. And we're going to have this system here over the weekend into early this week, and I think that'll be the most widespread heavy rain this week. So we look at enhanced rainfall this week. Again, Southern California and the southeast U.S. look like the 2 areas that are going to be the most active. Everywhere else, a fairly quiet week. Now, I wanted to give you some timing on this transition between the warm and the cold. This is about a week from now. So maybe next weekend we're going to have that cold front going through, colder air pushing in with the transition. But again, that's a week out there, so that timing will probably change a bit. But until then, much above normal temperatures right through the next week into 10-day period. So that is going to define the eastern half of the nation, and then colder than normal temperatures over the western U.S., primarily where we're going to get the rain in Southern California. It looks pretty messy and dreary weather in that region in the 6 to 10 day. And with the transition, we could have an uptick in precipitation as well along the boundary in the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day period. Now, as far as our weather hazard assessment, I think the excessive rain threat this weekend into early next week will be the one of the focuses, and then Southern California, coastal Southern California will be the second. And there is a risk for some moderate flooding in a few spots in those areas. Now with that, I want to wish you and your family happy holidays, Merry Christmas. I know many distractions this next week, so I'm probably going to pull back on my content, but I will be watching areas, and if I do see something that's important, I'll bring that out. But overall, I think I'm going to pull back on my content a bit and let you enjoy your holiday season. Merry Christmas again. Have a great week. Take care.